Okay, next we're going to recognize Mr. Carl Swensson, 15 minutes to address the board. Mr. Swensson.
Gentlemen, good to see you again. I'm here today to talk about your fiduciary responsibilities. And I'm going to put one up here that is just an example of one of the many corporate enterprises that are going on in the county. Now, not too many people are interested in this, but you've heard me come up before and state that I didn't know what you guys were doing, what seats you were taking. And one of the reasons for that is that as members of the various corporations in this county, you were putting resolutions and all kinds of business before the commissioners here, but it has something to do with the corporations at the same time. And most of you understand that, well, I take that back. Only one person on the Board of Commissioners understands that he is a fiduciary for one of these corporations, or for any of them. But even he was not forthcoming in that. And I'm talking in relation to the financial reports that if you're going for office, you have to submit to 2 counties, Clayton and Henry. And I looked at those reports. And you know, it's kind of interesting that with all of the board member activity of the various corporations by the commissioners for the 2 counties, only one person recognized on his form, disclosure form, that he had these responsibilities. That was Preston.
Oh, yay.
Good job. But you forgot one. You forgot the Henry County Governmental Finance Corporation. You might want to take a look and add that in the next one. No, I take that back. That was 2015. I think you put that in there. I'm not sure. But you got all the others. But nobody else did. Nobody. As board of directors for these corporations, you are the fiduciaries. And as such, when you fill out a financial disclosure form, even though you don't get any benefit, you still have to do that. And if you look at this stuff, these things are set up in a fashion that should aggravate the people out there, because they vote for people to come up here and represent them. And many times people go into office with all the right intentions, that they're going to do for the people what they said they're going to do. And they may try. They may try. But from the moment they sign their oath of office, they're not just, in this case, commissioners. By golly, they're on the board of directors. And do you know how many actually know that whenever they take that office? It's been my experience, none of them. But it still comes up. It comes up in the meetings. Because money flows, you see. Money flows between these corporations. Sometimes big money. Like money that came out of Office Industrial Park Corporation. Big money. Cottonfields, as a matter of fact. You know, they're intimately involved in that. And see, that's part of your job that you didn't know anything about. The people didn't know anything about. We, the people that are looking at this, want to bring this to your attention so that you can change that, so that you won't encumber the next group of politicians, servants, hopefully they're going to be public servants, so that you won't encumber them and tie their hands so that they can't do what it is they said they wanted to do, whatever that might be. And speaking of Cottonwoods, we had a couple of things that nobody really talked about, but let's talk about them for just a second. You've got right next door to them emergency management. And there's a building right in back of emergency management that was a part of Cottonwoods. Now, if I understand correctly, that building, being on Cottonwoods property, is being used by emergency management. Just like we were surprised to find out that there was a church that was operating over there. Generally, I mean, I had a business in Stockbridge, and I got calls all the time from churches. They wanted to rent space from me. So apparently this church wanted to rent space from the Schwennigers. But it all gets muddied, really, really muddied, because you have to give the okay. Now, you're giving it the okay from what position? Let's see. Oh, yeah, that would have been from the Office Industrial Park Corporation. But, gentlemen, you know, I'm having a hard time finding minutes to those meetings. Just like I can't find any for this. And why this one is important is because there's something in the background that you're not paying attention to. Somebody's controlling these. Oh, yeah, they are. That would be your wonderful friends, the Esquires. And they're advising you on what to do. Oh, yeah, because you have to look to them. You're running a major corporation here, for goodness sakes. $1 billion a year, give or take, okay? Heck, most of us have problems balancing the checkbook. And it's hard to expect you guys to come up here and look at all the intricacies. So you delegate the authority. You delegate responsibilities. Or in some cases, they've already been delegated and you just accept it for what it is. But we hired you to build the county. That's not what's happening. It's not what's happening at all. We're working for other people. You guys are working for other people. You're working for the Development Authority. You're working for the state. You're working for the courts. And we'll get to that real quick, because you have bylaws. This corporation has its bylaws. And those bylaws are the Articles of Incorporation. And each one of these corporations has one. How many of you read the Articles of Incorporation for environmental services? Anybody? Nah, probably not. I have. Curiously, they're all the same. They take each and every one of you, unbeknownst to you, and get you right into the corporate realm so that when you sit up here and you start having resolutions, dealing with money, we don't know who you're dealing with or for. Is it for the Governmental Finance Corporation? Is it for the Office Industrial Park Corporation? Is it Henry First or any of the other numbers of corporations? We don't know. But you know who does know? The attorneys. That's right. And you've got one here that's right in the middle of it. Now, I'm going to have to ask you this because this is important. I have not been able to find any act on the part of this board of directors in relation to Henry First that put Patrick Jogstetter in a position of attorney-in-fact. I can't find anything. And yet, the annual registration was filed on April 1st. And those of you who were made aware of this said, we don't want anything to do with that, so you vacated your positions. Good job, guys. Good job. But that just kind of left this out there. You did half the job. That corporation is not needed for anything that you can't do sitting there as commissioners. But it's still there. And you know something? When we have a turnover, we're going to have a new board of directors. So come January, when new people are sworn in, guess what? New board of directors. But in the meantime, since April 1st, we had it was $42,000 in this account. Historically, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a year may come in and out of there, but for some reason, this past year we had 42 in there. And after you guys had vacated, checks were being written on this. And there was a little change up in the structure there. We still don't have a commission president, a board of directors with a president, vice president, and secretary, but we can still write checks. How's that working for you? Because nobody's accountable. And only one person answers to that now, and that is Patrick Jockstetter. Now, having said that, these things reek of impropriety. But where's it got to go? I can come up here and I can talk to you about it, and I do. But if I find something that looks on the other side of legal, where do we go? Go to the DA? Can't do that. I've proven that over in Clayton. They'll run interference for you. Oh gosh. And they'll run interference for anybody involved in this. But there is one place for us to go. People, please remember this and try. You know, you'll probably have as much success as I do, but we have something called a sitting grand jury. That is not the playground for the courts, but they're using it as such. And we have every right to take our allegations and our criminal complaints directly to them. But that DA, he's not going to let that happen. And you know something? By virtue of them doing what they're doing and not living up to their fiduciary responsibilities, they are breaking federal law by not allowing the people access to that grand jury with criminal charges. Now, I've talked to you about this, Tommy, and I don't know what you can do. I really don't. But I wish as commissioners you'd help the people to get some justice in this county. That is your responsibility. To protect our rights, not the rights that are given out through these corporations, through their bylaws, not the rights that are given through the various entities we call the state and local. No. They don't give us any rights. God alone gives us those rights. Life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. We don't have to write those things down. They're common sense. And you guys have got to start using common sense at some point. And you can change things around for the better by moving away from this corporate structure that you've been living under all this time and the control that is being exerted by these attorneys, these esquires, who, by the way, shouldn't be there via Article 1, Section 9, Clause 8, and Article 1, Section 10, Clause 1, you know. They're still holding those doggone titles. That's an inconvenient thing. But they shouldn't be there. But you got to do something. You got to say something. You want to stop this mess. You want to be the public servants you're supposed to be. Then do it. Start cleaning this mess up. Because every county has corruption. You know they do. Money flows. We don't know where it's all flowing, but we know it flows. But the people who make it possible are the Patrick Jockstetters out there. Sorry. I'm not trying to cause any problems, but I want the people to be aware, and I want you to be aware that there is more to this than just sitting up there and accepting resolutions, yay or nay. There's a lot more, and it affects so many people in so many different ways. But you're not being the public servants when you go for this. You're not. When I bring you a silly little issue about the 14th Amendment not being valid, as recognized by the 1957 Georgia Congress, both houses and the governor. And 10 other states too, by the way. Is it above your pay grade? Is it? Because laws are being broken all the time, and we don't have a place to go. Didn't, but we do. And the people who are bringing this to light need your help. How am I going to get past the DA? How am I going to get him to get a criminal allegation to the grand jury? Oh, they can do with it what they will. They can say, yeah, no, I agree or disagree. But we've got to have that access. You guys can help. That is your fiduciary responsibility, to help your constituents. So When I come up here and I start talking about these corporations, I know your eyes get all glazed over and they roll back in your head. And, oh, goodness gracious, here comes Swensson again. Got it. But we bring important stuff, whether the people behind me understand or even you. There's legal ramifications for what you do. If you're operating outside of your charter,
Time is up. Thank you.
gentlemen, have a great day.
Thank you. Anybody have any comments after he sits down? The only comment I would make is when I first was elected here, I was given an email, I just was sent it to me the other day to refresh my memory, from the county attorney at the time indicating that we were members of 3 organizations. It didn't really dawn on me, and I know when Mr. Swensson brought this to the board's attention, I knew I wasn't a part of any kind of corporation or authority. Well, since then I found out that obviously this board has to have elections and appoint the membership to these corporations and incorporations and the authority. I think the authority is the only one that makes the board up here automatically members of the authority. But the board, this board, I can tell you 5 others didn't know this. And if you asked me before we mentioned Commissioner Preston, I would have told you 6 others didn't know this. But having said that, if you check the Secretary of State's, my name is not on there, because in order to be listed as a CEO of the corporation, the board has to elect a membership first. Then within the membership, they have to elect officers, a secretary, a CEO, and a CFO, and also an agent of record. Well, for 13, 14, and 15, I found out that I was the agent of record, which I didn't have knowledge of. I was the CEO of these corporations, which I didn't realize I was. And then the secretary, which was the clerk, I quizzed her. She didn't know she was on there. So, and then the CFO, he knew he was there because his office is the one that filed this. But anyway, having said this, it's my opinion that these incorporations were set up and designed by extremely trained legal minds to allow a governmental agency like elected officials to do things that they can't do as elected officials. Like, for an example, the corporations, the Henry County Industrial Park, La-di-da Corporation, for an example, it would be members, it could be members of this board. Now, the bylaws doesn't say it has to be members up here, but the board could put 5 members, put 5 citizens on this corporation. But that corporation shared the same legal ramification that a private corporation would have. That means this board, handling county business, could meet in secret. The records would not be, to my knowledge, would not be available through open records. But after saying all that, my name is off of all this. Okay, the board needs to have official resolutions. They need to put people on these boards, and then within the boards, they need to do that. But here's my thought. I'm an elected official, and anything or any item that's related to county business, your business, if I can't do it as an elected official, I have no business doing it. I don't need to go into another cloth to do something I'm not capable of. Everything that I need to be doing here, I need to be doing it face value and doing it myself, and I feel the same way about the boards. But having said that, I yield the floor to anybody like to make a comment. Receiving no comments, what I like to do with no objections, I notice that Ms. Parker